I still have a bunch more to talk about. I talked about how I had a rough night last night, a rough landing in consciousness, and I was even feeling quite anxious today at around 3:40, and before that. And the Spire app told me that I had 7 minutes of focus at 3:40, and I put in as a tag that I was feeling anxiety. So at around 4 o'clock, I took 4,000 milligrams of taurine on an empty stomach. And then by 4:23, it said I had a few minutes of focus, and I was reading some stuff that I'm studying right now about spiritual transformative experiences, and then I had another focus time at 4:52. So basically between 4 and 4:23, the anxiety feeling went away, and I was in focus for 28 minutes after 5:23. But what happened too was 4:52 I was focused, and 4:57, 5:09, and 5:16 I had tense minutes, or a couple minutes in a row at each of those times. And I was emailing people, sort of like updating someone about the past and then trying to figure out something for my action plan regarding staying safe. And then at 5:23, I started having all these different focus times, and I felt calm that whole time. So I took the 4,000 milligrams at 4 o'clock, felt pretty good by 4:23, 4:52. Then it said I was breathing tense a little bit from 4:57 to 5:16, and then 5:23 on, I had mostly focus time, 28 minutes of focus, and I was doing different things that I'm interested in learning about. And I was also talking on the phone with somebody. So I wonder if feeling anxiety is a clue or a cue to take taurine, and then it will turn that anxious focus breathing into relaxed focus breathing. Well, I felt relaxed and able to learn, and I feel kind of landed and like I'm back to myself. So that was good. That wasn't that hard of a landing. So we'll see, will it build up over a week again, or will more of it come back tomorrow? I don't know. We'll see. But tonight, I'm definitely going to use that sleep cycle app. I opened it up, and turns out I used it 77 times before, years ago, and I haven't used it in years because I don't really want to sleep with my phone next to me personally. I wonder if it works with the airplane mode turned on, maybe, because then maybe there's a little bit less cell phone radiation. I don't know. But I'm going to try it tonight because I want to compare what my sleep used to look like, which I don't know, haven't really looked into it that much, with what my sleep cycle looks like when I'm sleeping in total darkness. I really wish I had have run it last night like I was going to, but my original plan was to save it for when I had the sleep mask, to see if I slept soundly with it. But little did I know that I was going to have these kind of sleeping problems, and it would have told me how long I was restless for, and that might have been helpful. So I did put 2 different packs of extra vitamins to knock me out beside my bed in case I didn't want to get up. And I pretty much did have a knockout pack beside the bed, but now that I've put 2 more there, and there's a water there, and I need to put more water beside my bed, then hopefully now it's more in my mind to reach for that, because the knockout pack was sort of in the lower shelf of the nightstand, but now it's right on top. So I feel more prepared if I'm sort of laying there half awake, half asleep, kind of having these internal awful experiences. Then I can just reach over and take whatever, and I could take it in the dark because I would know what each one feels like. There's sunflower lecithin, taurine, tryptophan, zinc, melatonin, I think, and something else. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. So, yeah, and so hopefully I sleep better tonight. If none of that weird stuff comes back, then perhaps it was just a rough landing and slowing down in consciousness. And I wrote some stuff about that process a little bit, and maybe I'll get into that at some point. I also looked at the urine test that I was talking about. Dun, dun, dun. And it's to do an organic acids test. And I looked at the instructions and I contacted my naturopath, and basically all I have to do is pee in this on a Saturday or Sunday or something and drop it off at their office, and they'll send it off after I pay for the test. And it's $440, which I think it used to be $1,000, so that's not bad. And they said I'd have to stop taking vitamins 3 days before, and yeah, so that might tell me something when I'm in distress. But stopping taking the vitamins for 3 days before might put me in distress. So I could purposefully do that to see if this test tells me anything. I might try to plan that in there somewhere. Or perhaps, yeah, I'm not sure when I would do that or if I'm going to, but at least I'm going to plan these types of instructions into my gesture matrix, because, you know, if in that moment of crisis and scariness, and that's when I'm supposed to take the sample, when I'm really distressed, I can make a gesture towards trying to learn something, like peeing in a cup to send it off and try to learn something about the physiology of what's happening, then that's good. And had I been prepared before, last time would have been the best time. It would have been hard to get the sample down to the naturopath, but I was in such distress and I hadn't been on any meds or anything for weeks and months. So it might have been good, but I just opened the box and I had no idea what to do. I couldn't read the stuff. So this way, if I know what to do with it, I can at least decide if I want to do it or not in that moment. So yeah, the taurine today really helped with anxiety, and that's great. Taking 4,000 in the morning instead of 2. And maybe it came up 2 as well, because I've been decreasing the taurine. I used to take 3,000 twice a day, and I was basically down to taking 2,000 once a day in the morning. So it's probably good to up that a little bit and up the glycine a little bit, because I'm taking more dopamine stuff, but not really the calming stuff. And it's good to take a mix of it, I think. But if I'm too low on the calming stuff, then the not calm stuff can come up. I want to look at, I got to study what the neurotransmitters do again, and which amino acids make which neurotransmitters. And I got some bras without underwire because I'm bigger around here right now, and it just was driving me nuts. So I spent like $80 on those, and that's the thing that happens in a more energetic state of consciousness. You're just like, yeah, I'll just buy a bunch of these, I don't care. But I think it's good. It feels more comfortable. It's driving me nuts. And then I was talking about this little progression that I wrote down, and it's not scientific or anything, but it's sort of based on things I've been exploring recently, different factors. It's like a timeline in a way. It's like cosmos, human history, family constellation, past lives, astrology, formulation, which is something that people might do after they've been diagnosed with something to sort of see how did that happen. The lowest level of consciousness, shame, karma, fate, holotropic states, the brain mutation process, that's what I'm really seeing this as right now. Integration of that, destiny, eternity, enlightenment. It's just something I made up. It's not really that important. And yesterday I think I did give out some good tools in terms of sharing with those people about the medical ID and pressing the iPhone lock screen button 5 times to send out a text to your emergency contacts and things like that. And today I've really been pondering this whole landing process phenomenon. So it's like consciousness speeds up. We don't really have a problem speeding up consciousness. One can take some kind of drug and speed up, or people kind of go into mania and speed up. But the process of slowing down is what is the hardest in a way. Not that we've mastered how to be and behave and gesture with that extra energy, but the landing, like I wasn't doing anything inappropriate or any behaviors in the last weeks that were out of line with my life. But then I still had this slowing down happen. The dopamine was being used to create and act, but then the slowing down happened and there's still this stuff that comes up and it's scary, and then it was hard to sleep. So I'm wondering, it seems like the slowing down is sort of like an emergency landing, and can that landing process be smoothed out? Because if it can, then perhaps going into faster speeds of consciousness isn't as big a deal. It'll slow down, but we can learn how to land, and how that higher state lands is what matters. It's actually what informs matter in a way. It's hard to describe. And then the Nature Mood app said there'd be instability at 6 p.m. But I think the taurine, like maybe taurine is something to take when there's geomagnetic storms. You know, and that's something, in that little progression I read, I didn't put physiology in there, but physiology could be in there. And, you know, so it's the cosmos, the sun, affecting our physiology. It's like, okay, take some taurine when there's a geomagnetic storm, because it could have been the geomagnetic storm that was causing the anxiety. And it could have been the geomagnetic storm that partly correlated with speeding up in consciousness. So it's hard to know. There's no causes, but if there's a correlation of the geomagnetic storm and its slowing down of consciousness and a speeding up before that, one can correlate in there taurine. And then there's a correlation of focused breathing and feeling calm and able to read. I was able to study some stuff that I need to study for something that I'm learning. So smoothing out the landing process. So the emergency part really is the emergency landing. And also today, part of the anxiety could have been feeling more, feeling more like it's an emergency to get these emergency plans in place. And once I started taking action towards doing some emergency planning, I also felt more calm. So it's like, yeah, focus on some emergency planning, go out in nature. This Spire thing is helping me to find some balance. And I might feel safer because I took some steps to feel safe and understood. I don't know why I wrote that. And I already talked about how I was tense when I was emailing some people, and I don't know if it was because I shouldn't be emailing or I shouldn't be on the computer. Was it because I was sort of in this mode of asking for help? I was sort of filling someone in that supported me in the past and then asking for help about the P test. And I don't know, it could have just been a transition from the focused breathing that I had anxiety with, and then some tension, and then release and focused calmness, which is what I felt. And another thing I did, which I probably won't even use, but something told me to sign up for grocery delivery with Save On Foods. And I don't even shop there, but they have delivery. So when I go into retreat, if I don't have a vehicle or if I can't drive, I could get groceries delivered potentially. So I signed up for that account because if I'm in sort of a non-linear, non-logical state of consciousness, sometimes I can't even write an email or find a phone number in my email or things like that. So by signing up for it, I at least have that step in place. I might be there and not have any food and not remember, but at least this way there's more chance I'll be like, oh yeah. And then I might create an Amazon foods list. So foods that I can get on Amazon Prime, like maybe a big pack of cans of vegetable soup or something, to have something to eat delivered to me, because in those states it's not really safe to interact with people because something will play out related to that state of consciousness. So to be in retreat and then reach out for help by having things delivered could really be helpful. And I have a lot to do tomorrow, different research, different things, and I have the whole day to do it, which is good. Like I said, it's going to be rainy for the next week, so focusing on doing these things is good, I think. And hopefully by the end or mid next week, I'll be organized with all this crisis stuff because I'll have the supplements. So I'll just have that much more planned in terms of that. And another thing I ordered from No Tropics Depot was this thing called phenibut. I don't know how to say it, but Peter Smith has it as one of the ingredients to this amygdala reprogramming recipe that he has. And so I might try that sometime. And so I ordered it just in case I don't order from No Tropics Depot in a while and I don't want to have to pay for shipping twice. Somebody mentioned to me at the talk that I gave that I should become a naturopath. I would consider that if it wasn't limiting, but then I'd have to study a lot and I don't really remember a lot. So I'm not sure. We'll see. And I'll talk about the brain twin sparky stuff another time, along with there's some astrology stuff that I want to talk about that's not really urgent because there's no new activity really until Sunday. But the solar storms should be over soon, and I'm really liking the Nature Mood app and then the Solar Alert app as well. And, you know, seeing that there's some kind of correlation between these states and these solar storms could be really helpful. And it's also correlating with my menstrual cycle, I think. I'm a little bit PMS-y. So, yeah. I'll talk more about that other stuff later. And tonight, again, I'm going to do a brain relaxation audio, sitting up with a Muse headband. 4th day in a row. I need to do 50 days in a row. Hopefully I don't forget one of the days. I really do need to practice some of these things. You know, it could be a waste of time, but I want to see if I do get into some calm breathing tonight, because my breathing hasn't been as calm the last few days. Hasn't had as many calm minutes. There's been more focused minutes. I got more activity minutes in there today, which is good. And yeah, if I have more to talk about, I will do another video. Otherwise, I'll save it for tomorrow.